Hi, everyone. My name is Jeanne Pelletier, and I'm the COO of Beyond Indigo Pets, and I'm sitting in today for Kelly Baltzell. Today is Self-Care Friday, and we're going to talk about building community through staff meetings. And I am lucky enough to have three of our staffers here with us today. We have Ayanna McMillan, who is one of our social media marketing analysts, Kirsten Haley, who is our help desk manager, and Tyler Murray, who is another one of our social media marketing analysts. So we're really excited to have all of those folks today. And we're going to just chat a little bit about how you build community with staff meetings when everybody is working remotely. And this is something that Beyond Indigo really had to learn by experience. We've been doing this for 23 years now. And when we first started, most of our team was located, even though everybody worked at home, most of us were located along the New Hampshire seacoast. And so every Tuesday morning, we would get together for breakfast around the table. And so there was some built-in community, even with remote work. When we hired our first truly remote person, Will Lindis, who is now our director of operations, we literally brought an iPad and put him right in the middle of the table. If we forgot the stand, we would prop him up on the coffee pot, and he would be right there with the bacon, enjoying breakfast with us. When Beyond Indigo expanded more and we got a lot more far-flung workers, we went to wholly video staff meetings. And it was a little bit of trial and error for us. At first, Kelly and I and Will would come and we'd have an agenda and we'd bring in our important information or news that we wanted to do. Sometimes we would have a trainer. We would make those presentations, ask for questions, and there would be crickets. So we realized that one of the things that was different with a video staff meeting from a brick and mortar staff meeting is that even if you come in to hear a presentation, there's getting the coffee, picking a chair, a little chit chat at the beginning and the end of the meeting. And we realized that we really had to find some ways to infuse that community into a video meeting. And that's what we're going to talk about here. Kirsten, I know you worked remotely prior to coming to Beyond Indigo and had kind of a different experience at both places. Could you tell us a little bit about what it was before and then how Beyond Indigo staff meetings made that different for you?
Sure. Once upon a time when I started working remotely, I was very much on my own. And when the company wanted to meet, we did so without a video component, and that was really different. Really just talking on the phone didn't really feel like it was connecting me to my coworkers. And I actually, especially because I was the farthest flung employee, I definitely felt untethered from the team. So when I started at Beyond Indigo, having video meetings, once every other week or so, we all got to work together, in this big room full of faces and get to know each other. And I just really felt more like this was a team that I was working with. And I felt also like this weird sense that I really knew people, which is really cool. So it was completely different from me going from phone call to like this big group of faces on Friday on the staff meetings. It was really great.
Great. Ayanna, how was that experience for you coming into Beyond Indigo? Because this is your first remote work experience.
Yes. So I've been at Beyond Indigo for a year now. So this is my first remote job. I've loved every moment of it. It's really great because we get to speak with people who are all over the country. So, we may be physically far, but we're technically all in the meeting together. And that kind of brings us together. What I've really liked is I feel that it's a collaborative environment. We do a lot of icebreakers, just so that we can make people more comfortable, get more acquainted with each other. And then also one of my favorite things that we do in our virtual staff meetings is the positive feedback that we are able to give everyone. I love doing that because, you're just giving someone kind of a pat on the back, letting them know how they're doing such a great job, and that it really enforces a positive, respectful, and collaborative environment. So everything's going great.
Well, and that's one of the things I noticed, that there were some staff meetings where we would start out with the shout outs, the positive reinforcement. And we'd be looking at the clock and we'd be like, wow, we've gone 45 minutes and people are still shouting
Yeah,
out.
everyone has something great to say.
As managers, we just said, okay, well, that's the staff meeting today then, that we don't want to stop that positive feedback. And it always seems like one person shouts out and then that starts a cascade of other shout outs. So,
Yeah, I love that.
Tyler, why don't you tell us about your experience?
Sure. I've been at Beyond Indigo for just a tiny bit over 2 years now. It's my first remote job. And something that we did a couple weeks ago that I thought really brought the team together was we named something. We named a win that was through work and a win in our personal life. So, we still got that ability that if we wanted to, we could pat other people on the back, or we could say, this is something that we accomplished this week at our job. But adding that extra level of saying, here's what's going on in my life, that actually builds that friendship that you get in a in-person workplace. We don't have happy hours. We don't get to see each other. I lived in Hawaii. I live in California now. I'm all over the place. So it's really difficult to meet up in person. So having that little bit of personal touch really, really makes a difference. And something that we do every year is Secret Santa. A lot of companies do Secret Santa, and it's something that we were able to implement online by still getting addresses, still picking out of a hat. Another thing that has been done recently is a bake-off challenge where we all try to bake and create something. And I don't even know if there was a prize, but it was just something fun that everybody can do, and that builds those friendships, because a lot of people are worried when they go remote with their camera off. You're not going to be able to have that same kind of connection with people. But with everybody going on Zoom and everybody's using Slack or Discord or all these other platforms, you're actually finding that people can get that interaction, especially with webcam. Having that webcam on, you get the body language that you don't normally get when you're doing something remote or online. It's not just an email back and forth. Like right now, I'm waving my hands around. You guys are shaking your heads up and down saying, yeah, I agree with that. And it's way more personal. It's something that's definitely doable. And, adding that personal touch has just been so beneficial to the work environment.
And I think one of the things that's important is that we don't just have a general staff meeting. The meetings we've been talking about is we have twice a month, we have a general staff meeting, but we also have smaller team meetings. Ayanna, can you talk a little bit about what happens in the huddle and how does that help your work?
Yeah, so I really like the huddle because we get to meet with different teams. You get to learn about what your other peers at the job are doing. And I think that's just a great way to kind of see other ways that you can improve on your job just by learning what other people are doing. So I found that really, really helpful. And I've also found because we're on camera so much with each other, I feel like I know everyone. There's some people who I have never met in person, but it oddly feels like I have met them in person and I actually know them more than maybe at some in-person jobs. When you might just be at your computer all day and not exactly speaking to the person next to you, but working remote and having these meetings with your camera on and having to address everyone. And I found it just to be very collaborative and creative. When we put our minds together from different departments, we're all from different places. You can really come up with creative ideas that way.
And I think I should also mention that, as leadership, we don't go to those meetings because we really want them to be times for you all to just feel completely free to share your ideas. So that I think that's led a lot. Kirsten, I know you and I have spent days on camera together. We did a surfer move a couple months ago, and all of us just sat in a Zoom room for literally 8 to 9 hours a day, talking together about what we were doing. How did that work for you?
I thought it was great because it was completely collaborative, and it's one of those projects that it would have been really annoying to have to do, one Zoom meeting, then stop, then do another Zoom meeting, then stop. Instead, we just kind of hung out together for all those hours, and we got to share a little bit with each other besides just the work, and it was great. It was like working, I don't know, it would be like if you were right next to me, so it was really cool.
Tyler, what would your advice be for companies who are trying, just starting to work virtually, and what would be the most important thing that you think they could do?
Don't worry too much about the hiccups. Like, my camera just turned off there for a split second, and that kind of stuff happens, right? It's authentic, it's real. People open the doors behind you. You never know what might happen. I think that's a big part of it. I think another thing is, just make sure that you're still getting that kind of connection with your employees. You still want to make sure that it's personal. A lot of people do make some of their lifelong friends through their job. We talk about, the games we play together or the food that we eat together. A lot of that can get lost. So making sure that you're investing in your employees and giving those experiences to those employees is going to really, really drive morale.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Ayanna, what advice do you have?
So my advice to people who want to move into remote, it would definitely be kind of just piggybacking off of what Tyler said, definitely keeping up company morale. I think it's definitely important to keep in those meetings, stay organized, just checking up on your employees when they are, switching to that, making sure that they understand that you're still there for them, and, just trying to make sure that everyone feels comfortable speaking as well. Some people may be shy, so it's definitely great, asking questions and just making a safe space so that people can feel comfortable and safe to talk about their ideas.
Mm-hmm. And Kirsten, I'm going to ask you the same question.
I think I have to just say that both of my coworkers are really great, and they've both said a lot that I really agree with. And I think it's really important to know that this kind of work that nowadays this is more common. Like when I was coming up, this would have been absolutely out of the norm. So to be able to jump on a Zoom call with Ayanna and talk about what we want to do for a client is just so easy. And I think if I had advice, I would just encourage people to just take some chances and to get to know each other and to have these meetings together and just, make it as natural as it can be.
Mm-hmm. And I think you're absolutely right, Kirsten. I think that the more we do it, the easier it gets. When we first started doing this, to go on a video meeting was kind of a thing. And, now everybody jumps on one-on-one, all kinds of Zoom meetings all the time. Sometimes I just get tired of typing on Slack.
Right.
I'm like, come into Zoom because I don't want to type this anymore, And I know who here has after hours actually talked to somebody on Zoom or online or on Slack, just like you would get together with a coworker.
Right.
On the weekends, there's, always messages and pictures and stuff in our Slack chat. So, I think that, as you said, Tyler, it's like we really are embracing the whole person. And, and you can make connections. When you said, Ayanna, about meeting people, when I went to Minnesota to see Kelly about 1.5 years ago, and she said to me, "Oh, that's really great. You can meet one of our coworkers and in person." And I said, "What are you talking about? I've already met her like a dozen times." And she said, "Oh yeah, when?" And I realized we had never met face to face, but I was convinced that we had actually met many, many times. So I think it's certainly possible. So, any closing words from anybody?
I just think it's funny that you said that about messaging each other, because I messaged you last night about questions. Wait, is that what you were thinking of too?
I was, and then we ended up talking about Animal Crossing for half an hour.
Yeah, that's true.
So that's a prime example.
Mm-hmm.
A prime example
Sometimes getting started remotely is scary. A lot of companies don't want to make that first jump because it's very technical. You run into hiccups. You want to be professional. You don't know what to wear. Who knows what you're wearing at any point in time during the day. But it's like one of those things that companies might be able to save a lot of money just by not having to have people in a building. There's lots of benefits to going remote. And from my perspective, it's something that I would do as a business owner.
Exactly. Much more efficient, saves time. You can just speak to people right away. So I completely recommend it as well.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, everyone. And
thank you.
Thank you for listening to us on this Self-Care Friday. Kelly will be back on Monday with a whole new week of Facebook Live.